Micheal McDowell Spire and Front Row Motorsports just dropped a silly season. Let's get into it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, well, that didn't take long. We were talking about all the movement yesterday. Of course, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. started it off by re-signing with the 47 car, but the biggest bombshell of silly season so far happened today with Micheal McDowell announcing that he was going to leave Front Row. For the last 7 years, I've been fortunate to call Front Row Motorsports home. Together, we've challenged the giants of NASCAR, leaving a mark on the sport that I'm proud to have been a part of. Over half of my NASCAR Cup Series starts have been made under the Front Row Motorsports banner, and I'm thankful for each and every one of them. With that being said, my family and I have made the bittersweet decision that it's time for us to embark on the next chapter of our motorsports journey, making 2024 my final season as driver of the number 34 Mustang Dark Horse for Front Row Motorsports. Front Row Motorsports loyal and dedicated fan base, I'm grateful for your messages of encouragement and support during my tenure with the team. It's been an awesome ride. To the incredible partners that I've been privileged to work with, thank you for trusting me to represent each of your companies, both on and off the racetrack. I wish you all nothing but success for many years to come. Lastly, to Bob Jenkins, Jerry Freeze, and all the men and women at Front Row Motorsports, Ford Performance, Roush Shades Engines, thank you for all your unwavering support over the last 7 years and allowing me to live out a dream of winning not only the Daytona 500, but a Brickyard as well. I'm so proud what we've been able to accomplish together, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunity. Rest assured, there's still a lot of racing left this season, and I'm fully committed to doing whatever it takes to get Front Row Motorsports another win and a playoff berth. We're not slowing down until the checkered flag flies at Phoenix. I look forward to continue driving for many years to come and can't wait to share my future plans with you all soon. Micheal McDowell. So definitely a classy way to go out, and the owner of Front Row Motorsports also had something to say. We thank Micheal for all he has done during his time as a driver at Front Row Motorsports. His 2021 Daytona 500 victory, a dominant win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and 2 appearances in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs set a new standard for our organization. He became the leader of this team and organization outside the car. He was a model for a driver we want to represent us and our partners. We're sad to see Micheal leave, but we wish him, Jamie, and his family nothing but the best as he moves on to another chapter of what is already an incredible racing career. Front Row Motorsports owner Bob Jenkins. So they were both cordial about it, and it brings up all kinds of speculation as to what Front Row Motorsports will do. Will they continue to be a 2-car team? Who will go into the 34? Will the rumored merger from Bob Pockrass with Stewart Haas Racing come to fruition? But literally, while I was writing all of that down, Micheal McDowell, almost an hour later, announced exactly where he is going to go. So before we jump into all of everything going on, let's see where Micheal McDowell is going next season. And you see it right there, Micheal McDowell signed 2025 to go into the 71 for Spire Motorsports. So that is definitely an interesting move. Where will Zane Smith go? Is he still signed with Trackhouse? That means Trackhouse is going to have to find somewhere to put him. They're either going to have to buy a charter or rent out a car like they did with the 16, sometimes for SVG, but also, you know, they're renting out the Xfinity Series car for SVG as well. Will they go that route? Will they buy a charter? So let's jump into those rumors, and then we will come back to the Spire move in just a moment because there's a lot I want to cover about all of this. So let's go back to Bob Pockrass talking about the rumor of Front Row Motorsports and Stewart Haas Racing merging together and becoming one team. If that happened, there's 2 charters already that Front Row Motorsports has. So Stewart Haas Racing would have to get rid of 2 charters, or Front Row Motorsports would get rid of 2 charters and go over there and accept the 2 charters from Stewart Haas Racing, however that works. So if there is a merger, 2 charters are going to be up for grabs. In that situation, you could see Trackhouse possibly grabbing one of them. I feel like they're going to have to be the front runner because they got to put Zane Smith somewhere. He's still under contract next season, so they got to find somewhere for him. So I feel confident the Trackhouse is going to be the biggest front runner for one of them. Now, does Trackhouse buy both of them? If not, who buys the other one? Then it's just going to be sort of your normal names out there, right? 2311, Legacy, RCR, RFK, all those teams are looking at expanding and buying another charter. So that would have to be where I'm thinking the charter might go. But then you've got 4 Fords because Front Row Motorsports just signed a deal with Ford. So we know that if they buy into Stewart Haas Racing, then that 4-car team will be 4 Fords. So who do you put over there? Well, as it stands now, it's just going to be one man out, right? So because they've still got got Todd Gilliland under contract, so Todd Gilliland we can assume is in there. I feel like Chase Briscoe and Josh Berry are still under contract, and I think Noah Gregson's under contract too, so that's simple math right there. So if you look at it, the obvious odd man out is going to be Ryan Preece. So where does Ryan Preece land? A lot of people have speculated that he is going over to the 21 car. So that is what a lot of people are speculating. I have no idea, but like I said, the silly season, this just blew it wide open. So that was my thought process there, but then I literally, maybe 30 or 40 minutes later, I saw an article from the Sportsnaut and Matt Weaver where he said that Stewart Haas Racing might have everything for sale. So all 4 charters might be for sale. So in that case, if it's not a merger, does Front Row Motorsports go in there and buy out the whole thing? In that case, the contracts wouldn't mean anything. Or do they sell off 1 or 2 of the, or 3 of their charters? Front Row Motorsports gets one of the charter and just takes over the building. All kinds of fluid situations going there, but let me read the quote from Matt Weaver first so you can see what I'm talking about. There will be a lot of movement this summer as Stewart Haas Racing is making charters available for purchase. In fact, its entire building and operation is said to be on the market as well. Front Row inked a Tier 1 manufacturer alliance with Ford before the start of this season, and Stewart Haas does not have one in advance of next season. Trackhouse, 2311, Front Row are all in the market for charters, and McDowell's move will be the first of many. So there you go. The fact that all of Stewart Haas might be for sale throws everything into chaos, and he mentioned the same people looking for charters there that I just talked about, but he said there's going to be a lot of movement coming soon, so I don't know if any of the drivers at Stewart Haas Racing are necessarily safe, whether they're under contract or not. So it could be another deal where Noah, I don't see why you would want to get rid of Noah Gragson. He has really come alive this season, starting to show where he's at. I feel like Chase Briscoe is very solid. He showed what he can do in previous seasons, so I definitely think you want to keep those 2 guys. Plus, they bring sponsorship. Josh Berry looks like he has brought a ton of sponsorship, so I feel like all 3 of those guys from Stewart Haas Racing will land somewhere. Ryan Preece I don't know about because he's typically been sponsored by Gene Haas. He is an absolute monster in open wheel modifieds, but he has not had the results in the Cup Series, so I don't know where he would go. But like I said, a lot of people have mentioned the Wood Brothers and the 21, but does he bring sponsorship over there like Harrison Burton brings? I don't know, so I feel like that is just a rumor, but I did want to mention it. But also Todd Gilliland brings sponsorship, so I feel like he is safe. He is under contract with Front Row, so that's the only one for sure that I can say in this whole deal. I know Todd Gilliland will be driving probably for Front Row Motorsports next season. Everybody else, I don't know. The other issue with Front Row is, does Loves go with Micheal McDowell, or does it stay with Front Row Motorsports? That would be the other issue, because if they stayed, you could feel like Front Row Motorsports easily had somebody to slide in there. But if they're going with McDowell, which well could be the case, what do they replace that sponsorship with? Does that become part of the merger with Stewart Haas Racing? But speaking of Micheal McDowell, let's go back to that picture real quick. You notice here in my excellent highlighter work, it does say he'll be driving the Chevrolet ZL1 Camaro, but you'll notice in the picture that Chevrolet and Camaro is nowhere to be found. It's nowhere to be mentioned. Now, before everybody screams from the grandstands and screams in the comments section, yes, he's under contract with Ford. That could be one reason why you don't see any Chevrolet logos or any Chevrolet mentions on that particular picture. However, another reason you might not see that is it possible that Spire signed a deal with Honda, and that is also another reason you might not see Chevrolet stuff on there, because yes, he will be driving a Chevrolet in the foreseeable future, because it would take Honda at least 2 years to get their car ready to debut in the NASCAR Cup Series, so he would be driving most likely a Chevrolet until then, so they would mention it up there in the top, but not necessarily show the branding. The bigger reason I think they might have signed with Honda is this. If you're Micheal McDowell, why would you leave Front Row Motorsports to go to Spire Motorsports? Nothing against Spire, but Front Row Motorsports has elevated itself up to a Tier 1 Ford team. Spire is not a Tier 1 Chevrolet team, so it leads me to believe Micheal McDowell only makes this move if he knows something. And one of the things he might know is this might be the next Tier 1 Honda team or Tier 1 Hyundai team, if that's what happens. So that leads me to believe that this could also be a foreshadowing of things to come for Spire, Andretti. Let those rumors start to flow, because why else would Micheal McDowell go over there when he had a good thing going as a Tier 1 Ford driver? All right, big time silly season news. Oh yeah, also just wanted to throw this in here because Several of you pointed it out to me, but according to a lot of you, Dale Jr. let it slip on his Dale Jr. download that the Charlotte Roval might be gone or is going to be gone after this season. So, yeah, go ahead and debate that in the comments as well. Apparently, he let that one slip, according to you guys. I haven't seen that part of it yet, but I did want to get that out there too. But, yeah, huge news today. Major bombshell. Silly season is really kicking off, and it's not even halfway through the season, maybe halfway through the regular season or close to it, but man, huge silly season bombshell today. So yeah, make of it what you will. Questions, comments, leave them down there. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. If this is your first time to the channel, would love to have your subscription. If not, I'll just keep making these things. If you're already subscribed, you know I appreciate you guys as well. If you want to help out the channel, visit the merch store. The link is in the description. We would appreciate any of your help. And other than that, I hope no other news breaks today, because it's been a wild one. Thanks for your time. Peace.